Good morning, grade 12s. Today we're going to do some interpretations on graphs. Ons gaan interpretasies op grafieke doen. Ons gaan kyk na ons drie funksies wat geskets is op die kartesiese vlak. Ons het 'n fx funksie wat 'n logfunksie is. Then we've got the inverse of this function f, and then we've got a reflection of this inverse function in the x-axis that's named g. So as ons begin, kom ons kry vinnig al die name van hierdie drie funksies. So as ons gaan kyk na fx, dan het ons 'n koördinaat op fx. So x is 8. So we can do substitution. We've got a b and an 8 in the place of x, and in the place of y we've got 2/3. So ons kan hierdie ouetjie gaan oorskryf soos wat ons geleer het hoe om logs oor te skryf. Dis b tot die mag 2/3 is gelyk aan 8. And 8 can be substituted by 2 cube. So om b alleen te kry, kan ek hierdie ouetjie kan verhef na sy reciprook. And what we do on the one side, we must do on the other side as well. So it's going to be, is it 2/3 or is it 3/2? Let me just quickly, it's 3/2. Just want to make a correction. This coordinate is not 2/3, it's 3/2. So I just want to make a correction over here. So it's 3/2. 3/2, so that's going to be power to 2/3 on both sides, and then this b, if that will cancel, the 3's and the 2's, that 3's cancel is going to be 2 square en dis gelyk aan 4. So die naam van fx is gelyk aan die log van 4x. So now we can quickly go to the inverse function. If we go to the inverse function, then we take fx and we switch the x and the y values. So in plaas van y is gelyk aan log 4x, word dit nou x is gelyk aan log 4y. And if we rewrite it in the other form, it's y equals 4 to the power of x. So my inverse funksie se naam is 4 tot die mag x. If this inverse function is now reflected in the x-axis, then the y values becomes negative. So the y values becomes negatives of this, the negative of this inverse function. So when we get y on the one side, ons deel met -1 aan albei kante, so gx is -4 tot die mag x. Daar het ons al drie ons funksies se name. Goed, let's quickly determine the coordinates a, b and c. Goed. A is the log function. So if we write it in the correct format, then it's 4 to the power of y equals x. So as ons die x afsnit wil hê, dan maak ons vir a 0. If you make a y 0, x equals 1. So the coordinate of a is 1 and 0. Wanneer ons die inverse kry, dan ruil die x en die y waardes om, so sy y afsnit daar by die inverse gaan dan wees 0, 1. If you reflect it in the x-axis, then the y values becomes negative. So there's the three coordinates. Very quick and easy, because I know my learning work. Die volgende vraag wat juffrou vra is, gee die definisieversameling van f, the domain of function f. The domain is all the x values, so the domain of f will then be x an element of. If you look at all the x values, the picture is just drawn on the positive side of the x-axis. So it's after 0 up to infinity. Jy kan dit ook skryf as x is groter as 0, onthou net om by te sê x 'n element van die reële getalstelsel. Ons gaan kyk na die waardeversamelings van my inverse funksie en gx. The range, my waardeversameling. All the y values, and we're going to do that now of the inverse first. Hier is my inverse funksie. As jy kyk watter y-waardes is hy voorgeteken, slegs die positiewe kant van die y-as. So dit is y element van na 0 tot by oneindig. Same you can write y greater as 0, y element of r. As ons gaan kyk na die waardeversameling van ons refleksie, G, that's now the range of G, then it's all the y values smaller than 0. So dit gaan wees y element van from minus infinity up to before 0 of y is kleiner as 0, y element van r. Okay, there we've got that. Next thing I want to know, where is the fx function smaller than 0? Waar is fx kleiner as 0? Let's draw it in. This is fx. There it's equal to 0. Okay, but there's no equals to, so daarom is dit 'n oop kringetjie. Waar is hy onder aan die kleiner kantjie, kleiner as 0? Daar waar jy vir die geel inkeer. So, give the x values now for that colored part. Kom ons gaan kyk op die x-as. Watter deel het jy vir ingekleur? Dis x waar hy net groter is as 0 van hier af tot net voor 1. Good. Next question. Let's go again to gx. Where's gx? And let's make it greater or equals to minus 1. Gx, hier's gx, daar's minus 1, so waar's hy groter en gelyk aan? Hier's hy gelyk aan minus 1. Waar's hy groter as minus 1? Daar's hy groter as minus 1, daai deel van die prentjie. Greater than minus 1. Daai deel van die prentjie. So write down the values for that yellow colored part. So it's the x values from, let's see, minus infinity, all the x values, up to exactly on 0, square bracket, because 0 is included, it's a colored dot. Goed, kom ons gaan kyk bietjie na my inverse funksie en ons sê, vir watter waardes van x is my inverse funksie kleiner as 8. So let's quickly just check where will the coordinate 8 be on my inverse function. My funksie, my gewone funksie het hier 'n punt, my fx 8 en 3 op 2 gehad. So, op my inverse funksie draai daai twee koördinate om. On the inverse function, the x and the y switches. So it's 1.5. It's approximately there. Over there. 1.5, 8. So that point over there is 8. So it's not included, so it's an open dot. And then if it's smaller than, it's to the smallest side. So if I write down all the x values for this yellow colored piece, it will be all the x values from minus infinity up to before 1.5, 3 on 2. Nie ingesluit nie, want dit is 'n oop kolletjie. It's 'n oop kolletjie. The last question is, if the graph y equals fx plus t goes through the coordinate 11 and 1.5. Determine the value of t. As 'n nuwe funksie fx plus t deur die koördinaat 11, 3, 2 gaan. What's the value of t? So let's go to our function f and we're going to have a look at this coordinate over here. 8 en 3 op 2. Wat het met hierdie funksie gebeur, fx? As hy nou in steede van deur 8 gaan, 8, 3, 2 gaan, gaan hy nou deur 11, 3, 2. Met ander woorde, it moved 3 units to my right hand side, isn't that? From 8, the coordinate 8, 1.5, to 11, 1.5. What happened? I've added 3 units on my x-axis. So wat het gebeur? As ek plus 3 eenhede op my x-as beweeg, dan beteken dit it moved a minus 3, because moving to the right means in my bracket with my x, it must be a minus 3. Why a minus 3 and not a plus 3? Because x equals plus 3. It moved plus 3 units. So if you take it to the other side of the equals to, it becomes a minus 3. So t equals minus 3. That's it then, grade 12's an application or interpretation of graphs. Go and practice the interpretasies van grafieke in die oefeninge. Ek sien vir julle maandag weer.